Welcome back to Old Bird Gaming. My name is Tu, I'm the Old Bird, and continuing with my little experiment with Dear Esther here. Like I said, it's just an experiment on...
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton.
Wolverhampton.
We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Town names like Wolverhampton make me miss England a lot. I had some special times when I was in England, and I really enjoyed being there. I enjoyed the country. The only complaint I really have about England, the food is not so great. Everything outside of that was really wonderful. I really liked England a lot. Oh, and there's the lighthouse I came from. Do I hear a heartbeat? Thought I heard something there. Maybe I'm picking up radio stations in my feelings.
I find myself increasingly unable to find that point where the hermit ends and Paul and I begin. We are woven into a sodden blanket, stuffed into the bottom of a boat to stop the leak and hold back the ocean. My neck aches from staring up at the aerial. It mirrors the dull throb in my gut where I am sure I've begun to form another stone. In my dreams, it forms into a perfect representation of Lot's wife, head over her shoulder, staring along the motorway at the approaching traffic in a vacuum of fatalistic calm.
Lot's wife. Tragic story, really. But, yeah, this is an experiment. I want to see what happens if I just have an environment and I just talk. I just talk to you guys about things that I think, things that concern me, things that, you know... I will admit the last election does concern me. I mean, yes, I put out a video that said, you know, don't worry about it. And I was sincere about that. Because the world is not going to end. It's not going to be a massive tragedy. People are not going to start being executed on the spot. We're not going to turn into Nazi Germany. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be some pretty nasty legislation that we don't like. I'm almost sure that's going to happen. So I'm not saying it's going to be good. I didn't mean to imply that in the video that I made. I don't think it's going to be good, but it's not going to be the end of the world. We will get through. And right now, what people need more than anything else is understanding. I really think, because there's this divide between, you know, people who have this worldview that everything should be about their feelings, and then they're trying to basically fight against exactly what they have turned out to be. It's really crazy. I mean, they fight against, you know, racists and misogynists and homophobes and bigots, and in that process, that's what they've become. And then you have the other side that now is just trying to fight back against them by saying the worst possible things they can on purpose, just to piss them off and just to trigger them. And you know what? That's not getting anyone anywhere. And right now, I'm getting the feeling from society that people are just tired of it. They just want to go back to their lives and live. And if we can't find a way to reconcile this in society...
I've become convinced I'm not alone here.
And it's gonna suck.
Even though I'm equally sure it is simply a delusion brought upon by circumstance. I do not, for instance, remember where I found the candle, or why I took it upon myself to light such a strange pathway. Perhaps it is only for those who are bound to follow.
Candles and pathway, what? Those are my thoughts on that. I think people, even oversensitive, feeling, emotion-oriented people, need to realize that, you know, they're not the only person in the world, they're not the only viewpoint in the world, but if we can somehow make it to where people who want to speak can say what they want and, you know, make it understood that the people who are going to be offended by that don't have to listen to it. That's what really, I think that's the part that's not getting across. You know, there's every point of view in the world exists somewhere. And anybody could be offended by any opinion anywhere. But if that's the case and you find yourself offended by something and you don't like it, then don't pay attention to it. I don't. Hundreds of people a day tell me what a slime-sucking scumbag I am. But I don't focus on that because I know there are far more people every day who do enjoy at least some of the things that I do. That is what you should focus on, is the positivity, the forward movement, not the backwards movement. And this almost looks like some kind of graveyard. Oh. That looks like a chemical. That looks like a chemical. I wish that my friend Uncle Kage were here. He might be able to tell me what that is. I miss him, by the way. It's been a long time since I've seen him. And it'll probably be a lot longer because I'm not going to nearly as many conventions as I used to, and that's where I used to see him most often. But I do miss him. I don't know where I'm going. Like I said, I forgot what this game is. I know there's no puzzles in it. There's no real path or anything. You just enjoy the environment. This is one of the games that got me into the genre of exploration games. Should I go down there? If I go down there, am I gonna have to walk all the way back? Oh no, okay. We're going to a different level here.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
Yeah, there was a car accident. I remember that much. Ugh. One bad car accident I was in once. And it really was like everything was in slow motion. The guy who hit us, well, we hit him. It was my mother and my siblings, my brother and sister. And we were in a huge Lincoln Continental and we were driving down a highway. We were going the speed limit, 55, 60, something like that. This guy pulled right out in front of us in a tiny little Trans Am. And we practically split that car in half. Went down into a ditch. It was scary. I remember as the accident was happening, I even asked if it was really happening to my mother, and she had time to answer, yeah, it's really happening. But that guy died. And it's almost a miracle that the rest of us didn't die. None of us were wearing seatbelts. After that, it became a staple in our lifetime, in our lives to always wear. We always wore seatbelts after that. Always. Oh, look at that big, beautiful rusted ship. I mean, it's such a dismal scene, but it's so pretty. I'm gonna have to go over that way. I can't remember if there's anything over this way or not. There's no collectibles, like I
I've
said.
begun to wonder if Donnelly's voyage here was as prosaic as it was presented. How disappointed not to have found the bones of the holy man. No wonder he hated the inhabitants so. To him, they must have seemed like barnacles mindlessly clinging to a mercy seat. Why cling so hard to the rock? Because it is the only thing that stops us from sliding into the ocean. Into oblivion.
You know, yeah. I can see that sometimes. People often cling on to things to keep them from sliding into fear or anger or depression sometimes. I hope that nobody out there right now is depressed. People often tell me after my statements I make sometimes on depression that, well, obviously, you know, he doesn't understand depression. No, I had it. I had it for a good long time. When I was younger, I had severe chronic depression. And so I know exactly what it's like. It's like a toothache in your brain. It's like it's pretty bad. But I also know from that you can get over it. And I also know that people who are depressed, if somebody doesn't at some point get them back on their feet and make them dust themselves off, pick themselves up and get back on with life, then depression will become a habit for them. And that's what I don't want to see. Because when depression becomes a habit, then your entire life is going to wind up being very, very painful. Somebody at some point has to slap you over the head and say, stop it, get up, get on with life, learn how to get over it. Because if they don't, then you wind up getting in the habit of being depressed. And you'll never learn how to beat it. You have to learn how to beat it. Because depression comes by. It comes by now and then. It's not something that just you're going to defeat once and it'll never come back. Of course it will. And it's like a video game boss. Once you know its pattern, once you know how to beat it and defeat it, then you can do it again more easily the next time, and more easily the time after that. And all it takes is the first time somebody, somewhere, whether it be yourself or someone else, encouraging you to stand up, dust yourself off, get the hell over it, and learn how to beat the thing. Because if you don't have that, then you will never learn how to beat it. And the next time it comes around...
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
What is this? It's so strange. I don't think I saw this last time. I didn't walk over here, maybe. This is it's a large area to explore. And you can't run. They make sure you can't run or jump or take any shortcuts. They force you to explore the environment and enjoy the environment. So this is as fast as you can go. I like that. That boat is just... That's such a good... This game it's an art game. It really is. It's a game that is just...
I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic. Your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so... We're talking about, a car accident where Esther... It appears as though she was killed. Oh, wow. Oh, that reminds me of something. Hang on. And what was it? It was... Oh, yeah, it reminds me of that Disney film. The Rescuers. Oh, yeah, there was you go back to the Rescuers. I saw that film in the theaters when it first came out when I was just a little kid, like 6 years old, maybe 5. And there's a place where the little girl, I can't remember her name, has to be lowered into this hole. And that hole was so scary to me. And that hole reminds me of it. So many scary things in my life have happened. But you know, you gotta get over those things sometimes.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun was an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
Bedpan and forceps. You know, I never noticed that. I played this game so I know how it ends, but just without going into too much detail, isn't that an odd thing to be sitting in a place like this? Bedpan and forceps. And I think there's a needle. Interesting. Elements of a hospital here in the middle of this. Oh man. You know, a lot of people don't like hospitals, but I actually found the time that I've spent in hospitals, I've found comfort there. Just in a bed by myself with a TV, knowing that someone was going to be there to take care of me.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s.
Always made me feel a little bit more reassured.
Shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
Sorry for the cut there. Just took a little bit of a break. Not much of one. I just had to turn my air conditioner off. It's getting a little bit cold in here. And still we head further toward the continual and ominous red light over the hills. To what destiny we know not. You know, I've seen places like this. Most of them were in England. They got lots of ruins around England.
Inventory. A trestle table we spread wallpaper on in our first home. A folding chair. I laughed at you for bringing camping in the lakes. I was uncomfortable later and you laughed then. This diary, the bed with the broken springs. Once asleep you have to remember not to dream. A change of clothes. Donnelly's book, stolen from Edinburgh Library on the way here. I will burn them all on the last morning and make an aerial of my own.
Somebody was living here for a while. It even looks like a little hot plate. Is that what that is? Ruined. Couple of my friends, I'll say something, you know, I'll say, well, I tried the whole thing, but it didn't work and the whole thing was ruined. And they'll look at me and go, ruined? As though Family Guy is the authority on, you know, English speech. But they'll insist that I say ruined, even though I don't say ruined. So, to prove that to them, I started saying the word ruined, just the way they told me I said it. And when I started saying it that way, they looked at me and they're like, why are you saying it that way? And I'm like, what's different? It's not, if that's exactly the way I say it, then how is it different? They're like, fuck you, man. Like, no, I'm gonna say ruined from now on because that's the way you guys say it, and apparently it's no different from the way I always say it. So there shouldn't be any difference, should there? And I am stuck on the side of this mountain. This should not be puzzly. I should be able to find my way. God, am I gonna have to insert a jump cut here just so I can... Is this... Oh, okay, I thought this was the same place I was before. It's not. Alright. Yeah, that's different. Give me little rocks. Even in this video game, you can't climb over a simple little rock. Let's see here. Is there any way up here? I see a fence up there, which means there's a path up there. But I don't know how to get up there. And this is the part where people will often disagree on methods. Because sometimes you see a goal, you don't know how to reach it, and you just have to go the other way. And maybe that's where you're supposed to go. It looks like in this case I'm right, because this is going on. I don't think I was... No, I wasn't up here before, or down here. Guys, I'm looking at my little timer over there. Ooh. And it looks like I have almost
what
25
to make
minutes.
of Donnelly, the laudanum and the syphilis?
Ah,
It
it's
is
so
clearly
pretty.
not how he began, but I've been unable to discover if the former was a result of his visiting the island or the force that drove him here. For the syphilis, a drunk driver smashing his insides into a pulp as he stumbled these paths, I can only offer my empathy. We're all victims of our age. My disease is the internal combustion engine and the cheap fermentation of yeast.
Wait a minute. Or was it you? Or was it you that ran over somebody? See, I never was clear on that. If maybe it was the person who... Maybe this person was the one who actually ran somebody over. I'm not sure. Either way, I've got nearly 25 minutes on the clock over there, and I don't know how long you guys are willing to listen to me ramble on like this. So I'm going to cut this off for now. There'll be a couple of more of them. And do let me know what you think down in the comments below, and hit the like button. If you like this kind of commentary, then maybe I'll do it now and then. If you'd rather me just stick to, you know, the fun games where I focus on the gameplay and things like that, then let me know that too. And so comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next emanation. Until then.